What is up, everyone? Welcome back to All Out Entertainment. And for this video, I am going to be discussing and talking about the anime that I have watched and finished this summer. So, you know, the main three is Code Geass, Full Metal Alchemist, and Dragon Ball. Those are the main three I will be talking about. I also finished Promised Neverland as well. And all four of those series are fantastic. Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure those the only four I finished. Yeah, I watched a couple other ones. I started Fire Force and some stuff like that. But yeah. So if you guys don't know already, Naruto is my favorite anime and manga series, and my favorite form of fiction and entertainment ever. And none of those series that I mentioned have come close to topping Naruto. The only series that to me comes close to being as good, or should I say as amazing as Naruto, is Attack on Titan. And I'll get to that in some future videos. And I already talked about Attack on Titan on the channel. I also had multiple discussions of uh, Naruto and Naruto versus One Piece. I had that discussion. I had a discussion where I talked about overrated anime. And now the question is, did those anime live up to the hype? Did Code Geass live up to the hype? Did Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood live up to the hype? Did Dragon Ball live up to the hype? And Promised Neverland, did they live up to the hype that was surrounding those series? Well, as I just told you, they didn't surpass Naruto. They didn't even come close to surpassing Naruto or even Attack on Titan, in my opinion. However, those series, I did have a lot of fun watching those series, and I really did enjoy those series, and I really was entertained with those series. Now, for Dragon Ball, I went back and watched. I went all the way back and watched the original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and I finished both of those series. And I watched the 2014 adaptation of the Dragon Ball, the final saga of Dragon Ball, which was the Buu saga. It's called Dragon Ball Z Kai, and it was the 2014 version, which honestly I think that's the first Kai that they did. The first Dragon Ball Kai wasn't good, in my opinion. The animation quality wasn't good, and the voice acting wasn't good as well. So if you're gonna, if you're interested in watching Dragon Ball Z, I suggest starting with the original Dragon Ball, and then going to the original Dragon Ball Z, and then once you get to the Buu saga, I suggest you go to Dragon Ball Z Kai, the 2014 version, Dragon Ball Z Kai final chapters, because the animation quality in there is freaking phenomenal. Voice acting is great as well, and also it cuts out all of the filler that happened during the Buu saga. Now, my favorite series. Well, actually, I just got done watching Code Geass literally right now, and man, that series has so many twists and turns. It was a phenomenal series, and I do have gripes with all the series that I watch. For example, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. The thing with that was it was entertaining for the most part, and good thing was it didn't have any fillers. Animation quality was stellar. Um, it was a great series. To me, to be honest, perfectly honest with you, it did not live up to the hype that people, because people overhype their favorite shows a lot, in my opinion. And you can accuse me of doing the same thing. I firmly believe Naruto is the best anime, but One Piece, uh, that was another series that last summer I binge watched One Piece and Bleach, and One Piece was just so overhyped. I forced myself to watch it. I literally forced myself to watch it, um, because I wanted to see why everybody thought it was so great, and to see if it actually is as great as people hype it up to be, which I came to find out it wasn't, because people was hyping One Piece up to be one of the greatest animes of all time, and to be better than Naruto, which definitely One Piece didn't surpass Naruto, in my opinion. Uh, Now the Naruto and Naruto Shippuden anime both have a lot of filler, um, but the manga is the core story. The core original story is the manga. So just going based off the canon arcs of the Naruto and Naruto Shippuden anime series, nothing comes close to that aside from Attack on Titan. Now One Piece also has a lot of filler. Bleach has a lot of filler. The original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z have a lot of filler. So I'm not gonna drag a series down because of the filler. Because for most anime I watch, I skip the filler anyways. I go to Ultimate Anime Filler Guide and I skip the fillers. Um, so I don't drag animes down based on the filler. But as far as Naruto, I told you guys I'll go into detail about that in a future video. But the amount of build up to epic fights, the emotion, the drama, the plot twist, the turns, the character development, and the overall consistency as far as the canon arcs. Each canon arc is consistently entertaining, and it doesn't really drag out like One Piece arcs and start. The pacing don't take a. The pacing isn't as slow as with One Piece and other stuff. Now, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and Code Geass, neither series has filler, or at least I don't think they have filler. There was a couple of episodes with both of those series where it felt like it was just supposed to be a happy, funny episode. Like with Code Geass, you had an episode where the student council was chasing a cat and stuff. But overall, those series don't really have filler, which definitely did increase my amount of enjoyment I got out of those series. But overall, I thought the story for Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was great. There was some things that was really annoying me, and one of those things was so my favorite character from Full Metal Alchemist. Well, I'll say my favorite my three favorite characters. I don't know how I will rank them necessarily, but actually four. Edward Elric, uh, Elfon Elric, his brother, and then Winry and Colonel Mustang. Those four characters were awesome. Like, those were my favorite characters of the series. Um, Colonel Mustang, when he was I was like he well actually oh yeah, I forgot to mention spoilers. Spoiler alert for anybody who don't know, I'm gonna spoil you. But Colonel Mustang, when he was he basically he was trying to avenge uh like throughout the series he was looking for the killer of his best friend, and he was trying to avenge him by killing his best friend's killer. And at the end of the series, he let that go, and I honestly, I was like, this is very rare for me because I really like just recently with watching these four anime this summer, I've experienced some of the worst written characters in all of fiction. Now, don't get me wrong, those four series I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Dragon Ball, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Code Geass, Promised Neverland, those are phenomenal series, but they have some of the most annoying characters that I've ever witnessed in all of fiction. For example, Envy from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That dude was like, he was the most annoying what do they call them again? I forgot the name. Anyways, he was the most annoying villain of the series, like literally. Um he was always, bragging and boasting. I mean, villains are supposed to be evil and you're not really supposed to like them, but it's like I was begging for Colonel Mustang to kill that dude. And I thought cuz Ed actually came in and saved Envy, and that actually really made me mad. Like, I wanted that dude to die, but eventually he ended up committing suicide, which is good cuz he was beyond annoying. But it's just so many things about his character that annoyed me. Now, Lust, on the other hand, I thought she was a pretty good, villain. She wasn't anywhere near as annoying as Envy. Like that, oh my gosh, like he was annoying. Full Metal Alchemist, it did have slow points where uh despite the fact that Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and every time I say Full Metal Alchemist, I mean Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I didn't watch the original Full Metal Alchemist. Well, I did watch the final episode just to see, because I heard the original Full Metal Alchemist changed the ending of the manga. So I watched the final episode just to see how things had changed. But um, yeah. So FMAB, um, yeah. So it did have some slow points, despite the fact that it was. I'm pretty sure that series has literally no fillers. I think it had like one filler episode or something like that. But yeah, it did have some slow points where I was losing interest, and But overall, it was a pretty entertaining series. It's not my top five right now. Currently, my top five, and I really don't know if I will rank. Cause right now, out of the four series I watched this summer, the two that I got the most enjoyment out of was Code Geass and Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball has been in my top five for a long time now. Uh, I used to watch Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid, so I seen glimpses of the Dragon Ball Z storyline when I was a kid. I watched the anime from time to time, and I did play multiple Dragon Ball Z video games when I was a kid, including a video game that I owned myself, which was, I think it was Dragon Ball Z Budokan Kinkashi 3. So so I've been watching Dragon Ball. That's the anime I've been watching the longest amount of time after Naruto. So I've been watching Naruto since I was 5 years old, when it was on Cartoon Network and Toonami back in the day, all the way back then. Like since I was 5 years old. I'm about to be 18 now, so that's a long time. That's 13 years I've been watching Naruto. It was the first anime I watched, and it's the anime that I've watched the longest, and it's the anime I've watched the most of. Even to this day, I'll go back and rewatch episodes of Part One Naruto or even Shippuden, for nostalgia purposes. Um, but yeah, I did see a little bit of Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid. I think I saw that like a little bit after Naruto. But either way, when I was in high school, I mean, when I first started high school, when I was in like ninth grade, I watched a little bit of Dragon Ball Z. I binge watched it from the start of Dragon Ball Z, basically the Saiyan saga, all the way until uh, uh, the Android saga. I watched it all the way up until the Vegeta fought, um, all the way up until Vegeta fought Android 18, and I was entertained by it and I was captivated by it. But due to other matters like me having to focus on school and sports and stuff, I didn't really get a chance to finish it until this year. And this year, I decided I wanted to watch all of Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z entertained me so much. The little bits of Dragon Ball Z I watched as a kid entertained me so much, to the point where I was like, you know what, I want to go back and watch the original Dragon Ball, start to finish, and then watch all of Dragon Ball Z. And that's what I did. My favorite part of it, of Dragon Ball as a whole, was the Videl and Gohan stuff. That basically everything that happened at the beginning of the Buu saga, all the way up until that tournament, the World Martial Arts tournament that happened at the beginning of the Buu saga. That stuff was amazing, very entertaining stuff. Awesome relationship development and building between Gohan and Videl, and it was just cool to see that that romantic element take place. Also, the fight between Goku and Vegeta, he got some amazing character development. Like, he's one of the best developed fictional characters I've ever seen. Sasuke is the best developed fictional character I've ever seen. After him, I'll probably say Zuko. He's a very well developed character from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and then after that is Vegeta. Well, that's at least right now. I would actually probably put Lelouch in that list too, because he's really well developed. But yeah, Vegeta, he started off as a villain pretty much, and he couldn't stand being inferior to anybody. He didn't want to be inferior to Frieza or Goku, and he constantly had to watch Goku surpass him time and time again. And then he had a family, he fell in love with Bulma, had kids, and he thought that was going to be his path to getting as strong as Goku, because Goku did the same thing. But at the beginning, at the end of Dragon Ball Z, he he put his selfish pride aside, and he accepted the fact that he was inferior to Goku, and he did everything he could to save the universe, and that was really cool stuff. Now, going on to Code Geass. Well, let me tell you. So that's the good stuff about Dragon Ball Z. I mean, it's a lot more good stuff. The original Dragon Ball, it's kind of like an adventure story, kind of like One Piece. It's like a shonen adventure story where there's fights, and then there's also characters like the main characters in particular traveling around the world to find Dragon Balls, to make wishes and to bring people back to life and stuff like that. And you also, it's great world building too, because you get to watch Goku as a kid travel around the entire world pretty much, going on different adventures. Another thing I like about it is it has a diverse, you know, it has it has diversity in their characters. Not all characters look like Caucasians, with just a few exceptions. You know, you got you got characters who are clearly influenced by Indian cultures in the story. You got characters who resemble African Americans in the story, or Africans in general, and it seems like there's actually different cultures in the Dragon Ball world. Whether it seems, and you got people who got religions. You got people who seem to follow Indian cultures and or Indian concepts and themes like worshiping a tower and stuff like that. So very cool stuff with Dragon Ball. The diversity in the arcs was good as well. One of my major complaints with One Piece is One Piece, for the most part, it follows each arc seems very, very similar, and the story seems, not only is the pacing bad, but the story drag out, because when you start an arc in One Piece, basically what happens is the Straw Hats go to an island, they get separated somehow, and then you get to learn about a little bit more about the island and stuff, and you don't really get into the actual core meat of the plot of each One Piece arc until like halfway through the arc. And even Skypiea is a prime example of this. Skypiea, we didn't even get to see Inaru until the end of the arc. Like, it's kind of weird. Now, in some cases, not showing the villain for a long time is good if you're building up towards that villain and stuff. But just like, it's more common in a story for for the villain to be present throughout the arc, causing things to happen, and building up towards his fight with the enemy, or with the protagonist, pretty much. But enough about that. The thing that annoyed me the most about Dragon Ball is just how stupid the characters act sometimes. And this mainly happened in Dragon Ball Z. The original Dragon Ball, I didn't really notice it as much. But in Dragon Ball Z, you had characters doing outright outrageous things. Like, for example, Vegeta letting Cell absorb Android 18. When Trunks he was warning Vegeta that Cell is too dangerous to be messing with. Cell was about to destroy the whole universe, and all Vegeta cared about was being able to prove that he was stronger than Cell, no matter what Cell did. He let his pride get the best of him, and like I said, he later got a lot of good character development in the Buu Saga. But that was dumb. That was just outright retarded, really. And on top of that, you had other characters like Goku. He gave Cell a sensu beam, and I understand the reasons why he did it. But still, it's like, Cell's trying to destroy the whole universe. I know Goku had faith in his son Gohan, and he didn't want to give Gohan any. It seemed like he didn't want to give Gohan any help. He wanted Gohan to do it by himself, and he believed that Gohan could defeat Cell by himself. But that's all fine and dandy. He had faith in his son, but it still was pretty stupid to give your enemy a sensu beam to basically erase all the damage that they took and get back to full power when he's fighting your son, and this enemy has the ability and has the motive to destroy the entire universe. That's a risk that Goku simply should not have taken, and the risk ended up paying off in the end, I guess. I mean, what he did just made Gohan's mission harder. It made Cell harder to defeat, and I guess you can say it made Gohan stronger in the process. So whatever, but still, it's stupid. And also Android freaking 18. Like, when I was first watching Dragon Ball, like when I was in 9th grade, like I told you guys about when I first watched Dragon Ball Z, Android 18 was cool to me. I like how she was a female character and she was strong enough to beat up a Super Saiyan, right? And and she she just seemed like a very epic, female character when I first saw her. But when I rewatched Dragon Ball Z, like, she's one of the most annoying characters. She was literally the most stupid. Well, it's another thing too. Well, basically, what my gripe with Android 18 is she did not get off that island when 16 told her to. She was so worried about 16, and the crazy thing was, she didn't care when she didn't lift a finger to help Android 17 when Cell absorbed Android 17. But when Android 16 kept on telling her to get off the island, she stayed there. and she wanted to help Android 16, despite the fact that Android 16 was beyond help, and despite the fact that Android 16, Android, keep in mind, somebody who's not really an actual human, his life is not more important than the entire universe being destroyed. She was so hell bent on saving Android 16, or Android 16, that she was putting the whole universe in jeopardy. It was dumb. It was really dumb. And then Krillin, I understand Krillin. He fell in love with Android 18 after she gave him that kiss and stuff. But it's kind of weird. Like Krillin, like, you know, because Krillin, he just couldn't bring himself to kill Android 18. So instead, he destroyed the remote and he tried to get her off the island, which, you know, that's good. Destroyed the remote and he tried to get her off the island, but she would not get off that freaking island. Man, bro. Trunks was the only, like, he was the only smart character in that whole arc to me. Trunks. Even Gohan was doing stupid stuff. But anyways, that's a discussion for another day. I'll probably talk about Dragon Ball in a separate video. But for now, this video is just designed for me to, you know, just talk about all the anime I've watched this summer. Code Geass. Code Geass. As it stands, like, formally, like, before this summer started, my top 10 favorite anime was Naruto at number 1, number 2, Attack on Titan, number 3, Death Note, number 4, Dragon Ball, number 5, My Hero Academia, number 6, One Piece, number 7, Bleach, number 8, Black Clover, number 9, Yu Yu Hakusho, and number 10, Hunter x Hunter. Now that I've watched and completed 4 anime this summer, that list might be changing. Code Geass, I will rank it right up there with Death Note. Honestly, right now, as it stands currently, I don't know if I would say it's better than Death Note, but it's definitely on par with Death Note. I might say it's tied with number 3 with Death Note as far as being my favorite anime. So, you know, it's just really good. You know, a lot of things I like about it that other series lack is characters actually get, you know, first of all, I like the romance in there. Lelouch, he was a chick magnet. You know, he kissed the 3 sexiest girls in the whole show. Colin, C2, and and Shirley. And speaking of C2, one thing that's kind of strange to me that just occurred to me is we never really found out her real name. I don't think we ever found out her real name. But yeah, Code Geass, now, Lelouch is a legendary character. And now that I've watched Code Geass, I think I heard somebody compare Lelouch to Sasuke in the past. But what Sasuke was trying to do at the end of the 4th Grade Ninja War arc, become the enemy of the entire world, and thus by doing that, by becoming the enemy of the entire world, he would unite the entire Shinobi world. That's exactly what Lelouch actually did at the end of Code Geass. He united the entire world by becoming the enemy of the entire world, and then he brought back, you know, the whole moniker of Zero, and he had his friend Suzaku kill him as Zero, and Zero is, you know, the new symbol. I guess you can call him, I don't want to say symbol of peace, but that's basically what he is now. Excuse me. Now, that was all good. All of that stuff was good. And Lelouch is just a legendary character. The characters who opposed him throughout the series, though, really annoyed me. Because they kept on, you know, opposing Lelouch, but they didn't even know what he was like. I mean, I guess I can't blame him for not knowing his true intentions. But Lelouch, he kind of was vilifying himself throughout the series. He was trying to make himself seem like a villain. But certain characters was just doing astronomically retarded stuff throughout the series. Especially Suzaku. I have no clue how anybody can like Suzaku. He is literally a trash character. Like, he's a Japanese, right? He killed his father. His father was trying to save Japan. And he killed his father. And he used that as an excuse that he didn't want people to die. Listen, your country was being seized and taken control of. And what Suzaku did, in turn, he led to more death. Because had he just, first of all, and he was a kid when he did this, keep that in mind. First of all, that don't even really make sense to me. How could a little kid, I believe he was 7 years old at the time, how could a little kid, number one, how could a little kid find out this information that his father was planning on, defending Japan and and, and resisting against Britannia? But not only did he find that information out somehow, maybe his father told him, I don't know, but he was able to comprehend this information and he was able to come up with a plot uh, to stop his father, which didn't really make sense because he said, he didn't want to kill, he didn't want to see anybody die or whatever. But by him killing his father, he led to more Japanese dying than, he led to the Japanese people in the country of Japan. He led them to suffer even more. and then and then he joined Britannia. And the craziest thing about this is he told Lelouch, like at the end of season 1, actually I believe it was at the beginning of season 2, he told Lelouch, we find out that he took Lelouch to Lelouch's father, and he told Lelouch that he's going to change the world from the inside or something like that, or he's going to change things his way. But that doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make sense because what he was doing was, and he wasn't, I don't know how he thought he could have possibly took control of the world and made the world a better place by just being a pawn for the evil empress. That's literally all he was doing. He had no chance in hell of defeating the empress by himself. The only reason the empress was defeated is because Lelouch. Lelouch is a legendary character. Suzaku is a piece of garbage. One of the worst characters in all of anime. Literally. So, that's what I think about that. It was a lot of deaths in the series. Also, what's her name? Luffy, Princess Luffy. Or I said Luffy. I think her name is Luffy or Lup. I can barely pronounce it. Luffy or something. You guys know what I'm talking about. The princess who died, who was the younger sister of Princess Cornelia. She was trash. Like, I was actually happy when she died. And this is a fictional character. In real life, of course, I don't wish death upon anybody. But in a fictional story, she had to go. She was annoying the crap out of me. It was just stupid decision after stupid decision after stupid decision on her part. Her and Suzaku are the two single facts. They're the reason they actually drag down the greatness of Code Geass. Now I understand. I understand what the writers were trying to do with, Suzaku. He was integral to the story of Code Geass, but the way his character was written really made no sense. He said he wanted to change the world in his own way, but it was literally impossible for him to do that. Had he continued down his path and had he helped the Empress kill or defeat Lelouch, he would have ended up losing. Because if the Empress had gotten, if the Emperor, Lelouch's father, if he had gotten his way, then he would have created his own dream world. I really, I need to go back and rewatch some of that stuff because I don't actually know. I'm still kind of confused on what his plan was. But basically, I think he wanted to create, his way of going about peace was by having everybody be in like a dream world, sort of like the Infinite Tsukuyomi or something. But either way, excuse me. So either way, Suzaku had no idea. He had just found out about Geass at the end of season 1. So he had no idea what the Emperor was planning or how to defeat the Emperor. So his whole goal of creating a peaceful world or doing things. What was his goal? I just said it, but I think he said he wanted to create a peaceful world in his own way or something like that. But it was literally, he didn't even know what he was doing. He didn't even know how he was gonna go about doing that. Lelouch, he had everything planned out. I mean, of course, his plans changed throughout the series, and it ended up changing for him to create a peaceful world by, having Suzaku take Zero's place and killing him after he became the enemy of the entire world. Lelouch is the legendary character. Suzaku is trash. Now, I was about to talk about so Princess Euphemia's sister, her younger sister, Yuffie. My gripe with her is she just made things worse. Every time she made a decision, it was a dumb decision, and it just made things worse. Because think about it, when she when she when they was at that when they was having that festival or whatever, and after she had already talked to Lelouch, and Lelouch, you know, said he loved her and all that, and he wanted things to go back to how it was in the old days, or something like that. But anyways, Lelouch, he was trying to liberate Japan, and then she came up with this stupid idea to create a safe zone or something like that for Area 11, where the people of Japan can be in peace with the people of Britannia. That was a dumb idea. Why was that a dumb idea? Because it's first of all, it's only one area. It's not even the entire country of Japan. So basically, all the Japanese people wouldn't be free in the first place. That don't even make sense. Japan under her little a proclamation or her little plan or goal that she proposed. Basically, what would happen would be that Japan would still be under the control of the corrupt. Japan would still be under control of the corrupt emperor, for one, and for two, this little zone, it will only be a zone. It's not even covering all of Japan. It was a stupid idea, and if she had not ran her mouth and interfere with Lelouch's plans, then she would not have died. She caused her own death. Her stupidity led to her own death, which is why I had no sympathy for her as a character. She was a trash character. Suzaku, also a trash character. Now, this video is 30 minutes long. I thank you guys for whoever have watched this video all the way up until now. I thank you guys. There's just one more thing I want to talk about before I end the video, and that's Promised Neverland. I talk about Dragon Ball. I talk about Full Metal Alchemist. I talk about Code Geass. Now, Promised Neverland. That series is phenomenal. The series isn't complete yet, and season 2 has been scheduled for next year. So far, from what I've seen of that series is phenomenal. And I already did a discussion on Promised Neverland before on the channel, but that was before I finished the series. But in a nutshell, that series is phenomenal. It's kind of like a mix between Death Note and Attack on Titan. Like I said in my previous review of the series, where I only review one episode of the series. And now that I have finished all of season 1, I can honestly say that Promised Neverland is like this generation of Death Note. It's like this generation of equivalent of Death Note. See, with Shonen Jump, you know, I consider Dragon Ball. I consider One Piece to be like this generation of Dragon Ball, since it's like an adventure shonen anime and manga series that also has fighting and stuff. I consider My Hero Academia to be like this generation of Naruto, and I consider because, you know, My Hero Academia is just like Naruto. It's a very character-driven series that has great character development and awesome fights and stuff like that, just like Naruto, amongst other things, of course. Great story and all that. I consider Black Clover to be like this generation's version of Bleach and Naruto, since I think Black Clover is kind of like a mixture of Bleach and Naruto, as well as some other stuff as well, but mainly it seems like it's this generation's version of Bleach and Naruto. And this generation version of Death Note is Promised Neverland. Just like in Death Note, there's no characters have superpowers. There's no there's really no fighting. There's no superpowers. Basically, what it is the kids of the orphanage, because they're basically it's kids who live in an orphanage, and every like when they turn 12, I believe, or when they turn 6, in between the ages of 6 and 12, they get shipped off to be food for demons. And once they find out this information, they have to strategize their way into surviving. And, you know, it's a lot of strategy going on, just like in Death Note. There's a lot of mind games and stuff like that, just like in Death Note. And eventually, at the end of season 1, they won, pretty much. They escaped the orphanage, but their journey isn't over yet, because now they have to figure out how to survive in the demon world, which I'm very interested to see what happens in season 2 of Promised Neverland. And yeah, overall, all four of those series are phenomenal. I just want to share with you guys what I thought of those series and what I thought of the anime that I've been watching this summer. And is if I had to change my ranking, as it stand right now, my current list of favorite anime is Naruto still number one, Attack on Titan's number two. I would say Code Geass and Death Note are tied at number three, but if I just take that, like, if I just had to not, if I just say there's no ties, then I'll say Death Note is, I'll say probably slightly ahead of Code Geass, just for the simple fact that, like I said before, Code Geass, the thing that dragged down Code Geass for me is the stupidity in certain characters in the show, just how freaking stupid they act. So I'll still put Death Note ahead of Code Geass, just barely though, just barely. So Code Geass will be number 4, Death Note number 3, Attack on Titan number 2, Naruto number 1. Number 5, I would say, is Dragon Ball as a whole. Not just Dragon Ball, not just the original Dragon Ball anime series, not just Dragon Ball Z, but the Dragon Ball story as a whole. Meaning mainly everything that happened in the original Dragon Ball manga. And then after that, so those are my current top 5. Then after that, I would say I'm inclined to say I'm inclined to say Full Metal Alchemist is better than One Piece, or at least I enjoyed it more than One Piece. But for now, I'll put My Hero Academia at number 6. Um, I'll probably put Full Metal Alchemist at number 7, and Bleach at number 8. Number 9 would be One Piece, and Promised Neverland would be number 10. As of right now, I'll say that's my top 10. But that could change. I still do love Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter. Those are phenomenal series. But Promised Neverland, Code Geass, Full Metal Alchemist, although all of those series are overhyped, well, with the exception of Promised Neverland, I don't think Promised Neverland is overhyped. Code Geass is kind of overhyped. Full Metal Alchemist is definitely overrated in my opinion. People actually think that's better than Naruto. No. And people think that's better than Attack on Titan too. No. So, although those series are somewhat overrated, those series are phenomenal series. So, I would probably say I like that. Those series probably bumped Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter out of the top 10. So, it is what it is. But that's just how it is. Thank you guys for watching the video. I might do another video as well. I'm planning on doing a video about video games, the future of anime video games, and that's pretty much all I have to say for this video. I know I haven't posted a lot of videos recently, but life, that's life. But I do definitely plan on posting a lot of videos in the future, and I'm still working on getting equipment and stuff like that. So maybe I might start doing weekly videos. Comment what you guys think about this video in the comment section. Comment if you guys made it to the end of the video. Please like the video and subscribe if you want to support me. And thank you guys for watching the video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.